$50 each.
Metal printed can go for like $7 or $8, not 50. That's completely ridiculous.
Welcome everyone to our channel. My name is Dylan and I'm here with Zach. And today we are reviewing the new game of Warlord Games, Black Seas. Let's get right into it. Our ranking system works with 5 categories. We're looking at presentation, playability, mechanics, immersion, and support. Not all categories are weighted equally. Let's start right away with presentation. So Zach, how did you rate Black Seas presentation?
The images are great. I won't say the backgrounds are amazing. It's something that I don't like in most war game, where when they use pictures of minis, they're usually low quality. They don't really represent what's going on. I feel that for this game, they really did an amazing job of really representing what a game could look like. The paint job on every single minis in this book is amazing. I prefer usually when they have full drawing, but in this game, they use a true historical reference image. They use photo of miniatures, and they use some drawings, and all of them are just good. They fit well together. I feel the orders of thing is really good too. What I didn't like about the presentation is that I feel there's too much page about historical reference. They have full description of the War of 1812 and stuff like that, and it's all stuff that you can find on Wikipedia really easily. They don't add more information that could be interesting for the players. They don't add a specific battle that you can do with it. They just write down as if it was an history book for 50 pages in the middle, and I just feel this is not something I like. Now, Dayton, what did you think about the presentation?
Okay, so I don't agree with you on that. I think the parts about history that they put in are really interesting. For someone who doesn't know the Age of Sail and wants to get into it, it's a quick introduction. It's at the end of the book. You don't have to read it at all if you just want to play the game.
If you're already interested in the Age of Sail, why would you need a 5-page description of the War of 1812?
Well, someone might not know about the history. They just see this and see the ships as pirate ships and are like, oh, pirates are cool. I would like to do a pirate war game, and they can get into the game that way and then start learning about the true history of pirates and the Age of Sail.
Well, I can understand that, but if you're interested in like Pirates of the Caribbean, I don't think this is a good game. Like if you're interested in the fantasy pirate trope and all of that, this is not the game for it. It's really a game for people.
Well, it can be interesting. I think someone that just watched Pirates of the Caribbean and want to play as a pirate could have fun playing this game.
So where's the Kraken?
Actually, there are rules for the Kraken. They have an additional box set for sea monsters.
Okay. I haven't seen this box set, so maybe, but even so, if it's not in a basic box set...
And I'm guessing, since the rules are not in the basic rules, I'm guessing the monsters come with additional rules for how the monsters work.
I hope so.
Like Zach said, how the game is divided, it's easy to get into, so you can just read the first part and it's the basic rules and you can start playing right away. And if you want to get into more advanced rules after that, you can do so easily. The only thing I think was really strange to me is that they separated the scenarios in 2 different chapters. I also think that some things like ship lists that are positioned at a weird place in the book. I gave Black Seas an 8 for presentation.
I gave it a 7 out of 10 for presentation. Now for playability. What did you think about it, Dayton?
I think it's an easy game to get into. So if you just buy the basic box set of Black Seas, you can play an entire game. Obviously, you won't have a big fleet with just the starter set. And the rules are simple enough that someone that hasn't played any war game before can get into it. I think with the advanced rules, it can get quite interesting.
I think the game is really easy to learn. I think that, as you said, with just two people, you can just start playing and it feels good. There's just a grappling thing that is a little weird for me from playability side, but outside of that, I think the game is really simple, but it has a lot of depth to it. So I think it's really good. I think it's really easy to learn. It's fun to play. And I think that having a starter set that gives you that much possible scenarios is great. So I gave it a 10 out of 10. How much did you give it, Dale?
I gave it an 8 out of 10 for playability.
Just to segue into something else, yes, it's a good game to start, but you might want more ships, and you might already have everything in your home that you need to print those ships. If you have a 3D printer and you want to print models, 100% compatible, Dalen has you covered. So from our store on My Mini Factory, you can buy models that work super well. We're going to have a special code in the description, so just make sure to read it, take the code, and use it. It will be available for the next 2 months. And if you want to start this game right now, I think it's a really good time.
The ships that we have on our My Mini Factory store are really inexpensive. If you have a 3D printer, or even if you have a friend with a 3D printer, printing these models are going to allow you to have a complete fleet for a tenth of the price.
So the code is in the description. Link is there. Next, we're going to go into mechanics.
Black Seas has a great amount of mechanics, and the mechanics are simple. Like we said in playability, it's easy to get into the mechanics. The mechanics work well for what they need to do. The rules could be a bit more complex. Yeah, for players who want to really get into the realism and the specifics of the ships, you don't really have these options in the rules.
I totally agree with Dalen. I think the game does lack in complexity, but the thing that really was a deal breaker for me is that the game only spanned 60 years of human naval warfare history. So I don't think it would have been that much more complicated to add rules for Viking ship, Roman ship, Greek ship, or anything like that. And yeah, it would have been more complicated to go up to World War I, World War II. But even so, I think that having two different games, one for 60 years and the other one for another 60 years, is exaggerated. I think they could have expanded their rule a little bit, even with like 50 pages more, and be able to do that. But even so, the way the mechanics are made seems to be really focused on this particular thing, which make them really limited to mod too. So if you're someone who likes to mod their game, if you want to use a system inside of another one, this game is really terrible at it. You can't really mod it to use older or newer boats or stuff like that. It's really limited on these 60 years of history. And for me, this is a big, big deal breaker for mechanics because I just can't understand how you're doing a game about sailboat and you can't even use all type of sailboat. So for mechanics, I gave it a 6 out of 10, which is for me pretty low.
Okay, and I gave it an 8 out of 10.
So for Immersion, I'll let you start, Dalen, on that.
Okay, for Immersion, I think this game is great. They're trying to make us feel like a fleet commander. And when I play this, I feel like I'm commanding a fleet of sail ships. You don't have rules for flag signaling, that you need to have an admiral ship that raises a flag and to signal the other ships. And if they can't see your flag, they can't receive your orders. But apart from that, I think the Immersion is great.
What I would have to say is that I think Immersion is really good. The main thing I really like is the weight of everything. So I mean by that, the fact that how the boats move for me is amazing. How you calculate which type of sail you're using. If you want to go battle sail, full sail. It's just, for Immersion, it's hard to beat. I think it's one of the pretty good game for that. I gave 8 out of 10 for Immersion.
And I also gave it an 8 out of 10 for Immersion.
So now for support.
I think Warlord Games does a decent job. A lot of stores, not all stores have them. It's a bit more difficult than others to find, but you can still find them locally. They have a very nice website that's mainly a sales page. They have a forum but it's not super popular.
So I will say kind of the same thing. I think they do a pretty okay job at supporting the game. I mean, they have a YouTube channel with almost no interesting video, but still, they still have it, so that's good. I think the main support comes from the community. I think there's a lot of people who likes their game, whether it's this one or Bolt Action is really, really popular. So I think they do support their game in some ways, but not as much as I would hope so.
Yeah, and even their sales page, honestly, often lack detail about what's included in the box. Black Seas is decent. They have images of everything that's in the box and a bit more details on the sales page, but some of their other products, they don't have a lot of details, and you're pretty much guessing at what you're gonna get in the box.
My experience for that is I really wanted to get into Beyond the Gates of Antares. I think it looked interesting, but they do sell, you know, the books and the stuff, but I don't know which faction is which and why do they exist. There's like a short description and that's it. I give it a 7 out of 10. How much did you give it, Dalen?
I gave it a 6 out of 10 for support. That gives us a total of 78 each.
We always get the same score, even if we disagree on many points for some reason.
It means the system works. We pretty much feel the same about the quality of the game, and 78 is still a pretty good score. If you like the Age of Sail and want to try a strategy game based on the Age of Sail, I think it's a really good entry into that. Honestly, I think the models are a bit expensive. Buying the rule set for $15 and then printing the ships for 50 cents instead of $50 each, it's a big difference.
Metal printed can go for like $7 or $8, not 50. That's completely ridiculous.
Would you buy this game?
So I think I'm pretty clear when I say I wouldn't buy this game. But I will still play it. If I was anyone watching right now, what I would do is I would buy the rules book because the rule book is great. I think it's well priced. I don't think it's ridiculously priced. I think it's a good price for a rule book. So I would buy the rule book and then I would print my boat.
That sounds really like we want to self-promote, but it really is what...
I mean, that's what you did, right?
It's exactly what I did. I bought the PDF manual and I printed my own ships because I think the prices for the ships are ridiculous.
I think I would buy the PDF. I think it's worth it. Of course, we'll link it anyway in the description. And I really recommend that if you're interested in the Age of Sail, yeah, buy the PDF. It's really worth it. I wouldn't buy the ship from them, but just me. Even so, these models are pretty basic model too. So it's not something that it's impossible to find. I mean, we're talking about self-promotion, not even self-promotion. You can buy miniatures boat. Like, it's not impossible to find miniature boat. And, you know, I'm sure you can find an HMS Victory.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily going to be the right scale. And actually, I'm just thinking about it. And I'm like, for the same price as buying a whole fleet, you could buy a 3D printer, buy the models, print the models, so you're going to have a fleet plus a 3D printer. It's going to cost you maybe $50, $100 more, but you're going to have a 3D printer as well. If you want to get into this game, it's amazing. Get it.
We both really like it. 78 is a good score for us. And all the errors that we made for this game that we wrote down were because of the business model. There's no error that we wrote were because of the designers. The designers did an amazing job. That's all I want to say. Anyway, and on that, I will say you can look all the links in the description. We will have Spotify, Deezer, YouTube, Facebook, anything, whatever. We have links for everyone, so just click on the description. You know the drill. Just subscribe and like this video. If you don't, we're going to send a Gestapo after you, so do it right now. I don't know. I'm just trying to have people like the video, okay?
Thanks everyone for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.
If you like the meme, thank you. I make the meme. I'm the meme lord. So all praise the meme lord.